All right, welcome everybody to our 16th Gardeners and Growers Workshop for the 27th of August. And just quickly, I'll run through the other options of studying further with the agriculture private teachings, as well as the books that are available to purchase. Today is going to be a nice special event because I'm going to introduce you to Roman Light, who has got quite a lot of experience in interacting with the plants and creating music with the plants, from the plants. Now, I just took a few sections from your website, Roman, just so that people, just to give people a bit of a understanding of your experience with the plants. So I'm just going to read them quickly. We know that plants and trees have always been able to communicate on subtle levels by sending out pheromones, inaudible sounds sent to signal dangers. Through scientific and empirical research, plant perceptions aim to reach a new level of understanding, changing the model from human perspective to the plant world point of view. And plants emit signals in reaction to external stimuli to communicate with everything. These signals are detectable as variations in the bioelectric field of the plant and can be converted into a MIDI signal, music instrument digital interface. And we can then send this MIDI signal into a synthesizer, soothing sound tuned to the 432 Hertz signal. With a plant, we need to allow ourselves to slow down, first of all in my mind, and sink deeper. So many aspects of a plant's life happen on a different time scale. After some time being connected to such device and producing sounds, plants seem to become aware of the process. They seem to understand that those sounds are coming from them, and then they start playing with that. I thought that was quite an interesting insight there that Roman has experienced with his plants, and he will give us a lot more information on his experience that he has had. And just on my experience with Roman at that conference, we've all learned over the last couple of months, how plants are living beings, and for me it was quite an opening event, one of the special events of my life, because one learns about this and you sort of accept it, but not quite believing it until I had that experience with Roman with that particular plant there, and listening to it live was just incredible. And I just hope that today, even though it's via computer, that a lot of you will experience the same thing that I experienced. As I said, I'll never forget that experience. And for me, it was a real eye-opener, knowing that what we've learned about the plants is essentially true. It's not just theoretical that we've all learned. There is something magical to these plants. And so I hope that all of you will experience that today. So I'm going to sorry, for those of you that weren't there the previous workshop, this particular plant, when Roman had connected the device to it, that's the plant on the left there, with me sitting down, it gave a very low sort of hum, and then as soon as we started interacting with the plant and more people came around, it started playing, slowly but surely started sort of playing beautiful music. And we'd also noticed a change in the type of music that it was playing when we added some of the Gans water to that plant. And the picture on the right hand side was about 10 days later of that same plant, and it started producing this beautiful flower. So we're not too sure whether the Gans had an effect on it or whether it was just the time was right for the plant to produce the flower. But that was quite an interesting observation from that plant. All right, so I'm going to hand you over to Roman. I'm going to stop sharing, and then Roman, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Good, great. Welcome, Roman.
Thank you.
Do you just want to give a brief description about yourself?
About myself, so in relation to the cache work, I was more interested into the cache work maybe 3 years ago. I must know a lot of people who are still working with cache now, especially in the Canadian team, if they remember well. I was about
Sorry,
to
Roman,
meet.
do you want to just speak a little bit louder into the mic?
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I was saying I was about to meet Kesh a few years ago to work on different work that I'm doing in numbers and arithmetic and plasma, in relationship with plasma. So yeah, I'm working in many different fields that are connected to like energy, 0-point energy, consciousness, and the plant is obviously one of the aspects of all that. So yeah, the plant is an amazing way to realize your state of energy, because as soon as your state of energy move, then the plant will be very reactive to it and allow you to recognize your energetic state. And yeah, it's a fascinating technology. So as you can see on the screen, you have two clips. So one connected to the roots and one connected to the leaf. And basically both of them are connected to a machine which is sending a signal, and yeah, it read the signal and read the variation based on different sensors. So the sensors are reading the response from the plant, and the plant is yeah, is very sensitive to your mindset, your energetic field. So what the machine is mainly reading is the electroconductivity of the plant. So when the plant opposes resistance, it actually read as not happy. And when the plant do not oppose any resistance, it actually understood as I am happy. So yeah, it's a little bit like kinesiology for plants. Like it's a form of plant kinesiology for those of you who are familiar with kinesiology. So yeah, this technology can be used for plants, can also be used with stones, crystals, and even human body, because the human body can also talk to you like in kinesiology. You can actually find ways to speak directly to the body, and the body can interact with you. And yeah, that's what this is about. Sorry, the camera doesn't stop moving.
All right.
What else do you
Is
want to know?
Is she wanting to play or not wanting to play? Is it off?
Yeah, the plant is pretty happy so far. Yeah, so I
Okay.
can drift into the music if you wish to
Yeah,
hear
let's
it.
put some music on.
So I'm going to start with, so basically the plant is producing a signal, and then this signal is converted into music instrument. What you're going to hear is first music of a harp. So you're going to hear a harp played, but the melody, the length of the note, the silence, all that is controlled by the plant. if I change the instrument, instead of a harp, if I use another instrument like a flute, for example, that's what it looks like. I'm going to add a cello now. Sorry, I don't know if you hear me, but I think I was muted, so maybe you didn't hear me. But I was actually saying that in theory, you could actually connect by distance to the plant. So right now, if you just look at the picture of the plant, you can actually connect to it, and this could be a little bit overwhelming. That's why in the beginning the music wasn't that fluid, but now it's getting much better.
I think if I can ask everybody to focus on the picture of the plants there, or the plant, and send it. Let's all send it to Loving Thoughts and ask it to play fantastic music for us.
All right, so I don't know if anyone has questions about this technology.
I don't know while if anybody noticed there. Um, Looking on Roman's picture there, he introduced a little bottle of the CH3 gas near into the plant there, and one could sense that different change. Did you notice that, Roman?
Yes, yes, I heard like a change in the melody, like there's a form of overwhelming state
Yeah,
where the plant were rising up and rising down, and yeah, I could feel a change. Like eh, the big question is always like, is it the plant feeling the difference, or is it just me holding the bottle who suddenly starting to feel something different, and the plant will pick my energetic state. We never really know which one is which, because like as much as we would like to humanize the plants by giving them human attributes like joy and happiness and anger and fear, like I'm not sure like the plants have such a developed emotional um, state, but I believe that they can be sensitive to yours, and match actually your mindset, picking up and transferring this, because emotions are frequencies, and they can actually easily catch those frequencies through their leaves and the branches, which operates like antennas. So yeah, when I hold the GANs in my hand, maybe my field has been changed and therefore the plant picked it. Who knows?
there's always a lot of unknowns, and is it just our being in the area and our vicinity as well, hey? Our impact. What other? You've mentioned a few. When we're chatting behind the scenes, you mentioned some other experiences you had with the plants. Want to tell a story with the school kids that you've just done?
Yeah, so I sometimes go to schools, so yeah, kids can experiment what it is to be in that type of environment. So I brought the technology and connected to a tree, and yeah, it was very interesting because the kids uh, don't lie. Like when they feel something, they feel it. They don't try to hide it. And it was very interesting to see that some kids were skeptical or were a bit perplexed, and because of that, the tree was catching it and stopped singing. And it was actually pretty easy to find out which one of the kids were like in that state of perplexity or skepticism. And as soon as you can work with him and allow him to relax, then you could straight away hear the music changing and mm, the atmosphere getting lighter. And yeah, it was at such an extent that even the teacher, who didn't really know how all that were working, was able to recognize the pattern. Like when the notes were low and heavy, she could actually easily identify that, oh yeah, there's something wrong, like someone doesn't resonate with the plant. And as soon as we could identify which kid was in that state and help him to open and connect and blah blah blah, like suddenly bam, the music were going back into high pitch long notes, very melodious. So yeah, this was a pretty obvious experience for me.
So the tree was reacting with each of the kids individually.
Yes, but also as a collective.
Okay.
It's reacting individually and as a collective. So like we become, because remember it works like field. We work with field. So we're all carrying a field, but if we're all in the same place, uh, like interacting our consciousness with one particular point in existence, then we all like create a kind of field altogether, and this field will then be colored by all of our emotions. So yeah, like the plant connect individually, but if each individual connect to each other, then it creates a much bigger picture.
Is there anybody else that would like to ask Roman some questions?
Yes, Ross Martin speaking. Roman, have you tried a configuration of crystals around the plants? See if there is an effect.
Yeah. Like every form of energetic field, no matter if it's a magnet, if it's water charged with a specific information, if it's crystals, will have an impact on plants, the GANs included. Yeah, crystal, like again, some crystal will have like a very grounding frequency, some other crystal will have a very high frequency, and all that will interact with the plant and create different reaction. But as I said, it's very hard to identify how the plant reacts, because the melody is already unpredictable. There's no real pattern. If you pay attention to the music, like you can't really predict what's going to be the next note, or when is it going to be. Like now, like if you listen to it, so we can easily say that this pattern is kind of joyful. It's pretty high. There's a lot of notes, long notes, short notes. We can identify a form of excitement. We can qualify it this way. But when you put crystals, a part of having a very negative reaction or very positive reaction, it's pretty hard to identify which type of interaction the crystal can bring to the plant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Roman, how would you describe the emotions of plants then, based on what you've observed and listened to?
As I already said, like it's hard to even determine if they have emotions or if they're only resonating with ours. Yeah, as much as some people would love to say that plants feel emotions and they have their own consciousness and their own, like it's always very hard to identify if they only respond to us or if they are producing their own mindset. Like in a way, of course, like each plant produces different melody, each plant produces different sound. Like most of the rows that I play with were quite quiet. They were not big chatters. Chili plants are very chatty. Ferns are chatty. But all of them have their own personality and their own individual melody, because that's roughly the only thing that we can really determine. So it's pretty hard to like claim that plants feel emotions. Like they definitely interact with us. This is 100% sure. In which level, I can't really say. No.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions that people might have?
It's me, Peter from Austria. Hi, Roman.
Hello, Peter.
I would like to ask you: have you ever tried to play with two different plants and two different setups at the same time?
Yes. Yes. I actually organized a few events, and I'm in the process of organizing more of them where we're going to connect many plants actually. not the two, but we're going to try to make concert with 5 plants, because all of them will play their own unique melody. And the results were really, really, really beautiful. I so far made a concert with 2 plants, and one were calibrated on the flute, the other one was playing the violins. So you could easily identify which one was playing what. And both of them were playing in the same scale. So you can calibrate them to sing in a specific scale. So they're not like creating chaotic notes. But the melody was really beautiful, really. And yeah, now we are working with a friend of mine on doing concert with more plants, and they will be recorded, and see how, like, yeah, in live, we'd like to do it live, outside in nature, and see how plants interact with people in nature with this level of quality. So I don't know if you answer your question, but yeah, basically each plant will play its own unique melody, which will not be the same that any other one. Yeah, and when you combine both of them, or 3 or 4 or 5 plants together, it's pretty surprisingly beautiful.
Thank you. I think this must be really amazing then. You answered my question, yes.
If you want to find it, I can put a link. If you go on my website and you click on the music of the plant, you will see a few videos. And if you go on the channel, you will see actually more videos. And in one of them, you will have this duo. The quality is not great, but if you pay attention, you will hear. It's about a 20 minutes concert, and you will hear both plants. So yeah, you can go on my website, sacredarithmetic.com, and look at the music, so you can find my channel, my YouTube channel. And yeah, I just said that because I don't know the name of my YouTube channel. I have many YouTube channels.
Mary, you raised your hand. You want to ask a question?
Presentation. This is Mary from United States. I'm just curious if the same plant, if you put them in 2 different places, like one time you put it under the shade and the other time under the sunlight, would that produce a different music, or is that a factor at all?
Yes, actually right now, I don't know if you can hear it, but the plant stopped singing. It doesn't produce any more notes, probably because now it's starting to get a bit late, and the plant actually go to bed with the sun. Yes, when you expose them to the sun, you will see the music getting more active, and when they stay into the shadow, like, it depends on the plant, like every plant works differently. But if you let them too long into the shadow, you can also have sometimes some heavy and low frequency melodies. Yeah, so the sun has a big interaction for many reasons, because first of all, this technology works on electromagnetic field. So of course, if you're exposing the plant to the sun, the electromagnetic field of the sun will interact with the plant and trigger a reaction. And the second is that the plant receives the light and transform the light into energy. So as soon as it receives the energy, then it will have an effect on the music.
Thank you. That's very interesting.
Now it's getting very quiet. Like, I'm going to try to wake her up, but sometimes just by touching the leaf a little bit, interacting with my... There we go. It was a bit asleep.
I think she was just being polite while you were talking, Roman.
Maybe she actually was polite, yeah. Another interesting point about this technology is that it has been developed since the 1960s, and the first usage of this technology was lying detectors. So the lying detectors were actually like recording on a graph the reaction of the plant, until one day someone found out that if the human were having negative reaction triggered by fear or something like this, the plant could actually catch it, and they could actually read the response of the plant and know if someone was lying or not. Because like what you hear now as music could actually also be transcribed as a graph. And on the graph, you can easily identify when there's a peak, emotional peak. So a human can lie physically and in his body language, but energetically, you can't really suppress the emotion of fear or the emotion of anger, or and all that can be picked by the plant. So yeah, the origin of this technology is actually pretty different from making music. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting way today to connect with the plants in an artistic level.
Roman, you said you had done with the two plants before. Did they actually seem to harmonize with each other and start to play as if they knew each of them was doing something together?
I can't really say that in the experience that I made, no. I can't really say that they were tuning on each other. But one day I made an experience where someone was singing with the plants, and that's something that you can actually do in your place. When the plant is singing a specific pattern, a specific music, you can actually sing in your heart or in your head or vocally and sing exactly the same melody, and think about which type of melody do you want the plant to sing. And it happened many, many times that the plant will actually sing what comes in your mind. So they would probably not tune on each other, in my experience, but we haven't done extensive experience on that field. But they can actually feel tune on your telepathic. They can tune on you telepathically, so they can produce the sound. Because it's not really a sound production. They still need to learn how to mimic a music based on the electro resistance that they produce. So they don't really have a real control on the melody. But I believe that there's a form of intelligence that can be emerging from this relationship that can allow the plant to match what you have in your mind to please you, because the plant wants to please you, if the plant wants to please you. Any other questions?
Yeah. Any questions for Roman?
Yes, Mary again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, do you can just get any plant and then you can test it and it will produce our melody, or do you have to go through any preparation for a plant first or train the plant to work with the instrument?
I would say that it depends of your, again, your energetic state. If the plant is more sensitive to that, if you're anxious or if you're afraid that the plant is not going to sing, then guess what? The plant is going to have some problems. That's what I found in my own experience. If I'm coming with an open mind, an open heart, with no fear, like most of the time it's working pretty well. Then plants will just have their own pattern, their own music. Yeah, like some people go into a big ritual and of communication with the plant and everything. Like I'm not going too much into all that. I'm honoring the plant and respecting it. Elementary, like having elementary basic principles, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So just respecting the living, regardless vegetable, human. And as long as you are in peace with yourself, there's normally the plant will be in peace with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Some plants are not really chatty. Like if you look next to this one, there's a beautiful. But yeah, this orchid just chat when she wants. Where the other one is more, she's more of a talker. So there's no point in insisting if the plant doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to talk, so there's no real point insisting. Like it's better working with someone who is happy to do it, better than forcing someone who isn't ready, who doesn't want or doesn't feel like it. Another thing is that some people were asking me if I was recording some of the plants singing, and I do it sometimes. Like as you can see on my screen, this is a recording that I made this afternoon just in case if the plant wasn't singing. So I could actually play this if the plant didn't want to sing, and that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's an interesting melody. It's an interesting movement who actually can be associated to the pulse of the earth or the pulse of consciousness. Like who knows? Yeah, all that represent the different melodies generated during an hour. But in my mind, like why recording something that you can play live? Yeah, like the plant is singing not only what she wants to sing, but also what you need to hear. Because if she was singing something that wasn't pleasant, you will pick it straight away, and she will know that you're not happy. So the plant is always singing what you need to feel at the right time, what you need to hear at the right time. So therefore, you can let it run during the whole day and never get bothered by it, because it will always match your mindset. So in a way, like as much as I would want to do some recording, and I'm doing it in some case, For my daughter, for example, I'm recording some music so she can listen to that while she's asleep. But a part of that, there's no real interest recording it in my mind, in my view, except like, yeah, people who doesn't have access or can't afford to buy one. Yeah, having this technology at home will allow to transform decorative plants into music player, a live music player.
Roman, one wonders what sort of health benefits it would have on people if they had plants and this connected to their speaker in their house all day long, hey?
In a pure physical level, the plant is matching your mindset, which means that the plant can allow you to acknowledge when you go into a dark mood or when you're going into bad thoughts or whatever, like, because the plant will basically shut down, just stop singing for as long as it needs. And until you calm down, until you're feeling better, and when you're going to start to feel better, then she's going to start to sing again, as an example. On a different level, plant can only communicate with us if we are giving some of our attention to it. And then we live in a very, 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 very disconnected civilization today. So just by having this music playing, it actually forces you to give a tiny little bit of your attention, like acknowledging the presence of like nature, plants in your reality. And just by doing this, it actually can have a pretty powerful reconnecting effect. In a whole different level, again, plants have their own consciousness, they have their own agenda, they have their own language. And just by communicating with the plant, and bringing your attention to the plant, you can also receive subtle messages through the music or through the field of the plant. So collaborating with the plant is actually very good in many, many, many different aspects. This technology could be used in waiting rooms, in hospital or clinics, or can be used in aged care facilities, just to bring a little bit of life in those dead space where electronic music and dead music is all over the place. And I haven't talked too much about the power of the 432 hertz frequency, because this is a whole different topic. But for those of you who are not aware of it, the music that we're currently using isn't calibrated on a natural frequency, where I calibrated this specific music in a specific frequency that has a lot of positive properties. And it's actually very easy to do it. Like, you just need to close your eyes, like just center in yourself and let yourself being overtaken by this frequency, and this can have a lot of health benefits.
Yeah, that's what I've found with this music and listening to a couple of the channels and different videos of plants playing music. And it's so different to, I find it such beautiful music compared to a lot of the meditation, so-called meditation music that's made today. You know, this I could listen to all day because it's beautiful, yet most of that other meditation music is just drives me mad.
Yeah, most of the meditation music are based on certain melody pattern, where this type of music is unpredictable. Like, if you look at the chart here, like, you can see that the melody is constantly changing, constantly changing. Like, it's never the same. Like, it's unpredictable. And I believe that this is the language of nature. Like, language of nature is not based on tempo or pattern. Like, there's a pattern, there's a sub-level pattern, but the expression of it is so vast that you don't have really time to get bored.
Anybody else would like some questions?
Hi, Jim. This is Wayne and Roman.
Hello, Wayne.
I have a question regarding how to get access to this machine. You have to purchase, and where you go and purchase that, and then how you train the plan.
So there are different aspects to it. The one that you have access tonight is a version that can allow you to connect directly to a computer, because the sound are very synthesized. There are good quality sound. So that's why I plugged it on my computer and apply some natural sound that are much, much more pleasant. And I think this one is about 1,200 Australian dollars. So it must be about 800 euros or something like this. 700 to 800 euros. Yeah. But you will not have this level of quality. You will not have this level of sound quality. It's going to sound a little bit more like this.
And also the next question is how do you have a chance to test out the soil of the plant? For example, if you use organic soil or chemical soil, is that the reaction of plants are different to the music?
Again, it's really hard to separate. Is it the plant who is reacting to something specific, or is it you based on your own emotion or expectation who is triggering a response from the plants? It's very hard to identify if the plant has its own way to experience and live things. I believe that if you are poisoning your plant and you feel guilty about it, then the plant will pick it up and will sing something that will match it. If someone is just like pouring something, not thinking that it's actually hurting anything, it's very possible that the plant will not even remark it. It's your mindset that will trigger the plant reaction. I had an interesting example of a lady who she was in her place and she had a machine like this singing, and she said something like, "Oh yeah, we need to go there. Let's cut a flower and bring it." And suddenly the plant stopped singing. And she was like, "Oh no, I wasn't talking to you. I wasn't saying I'm gonna cut your flower. Like I was actually talking like about the flower in the garden." And when she told me this thing, she was like, "Oh yeah, the plants were afraid that I would hurt her or that I would cut her." And I was like, "Yeah, this is one way to look at it. One way to look at it is that plants are like human. They can feel, they have fear, they can anticipate, they can." Or another way is that when you thought about cutting this flower, you felt a little bit of guilt, because she loves her flower, she loves her garden, and she could easily feel a little bit of guilt. And just this idea, just this emotion of guilt, of shame, could actually be picked up by the plant and be strong enough to disturb her so she wouldn't sing for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So, like, how can we be sure that the plant will react to pesticide or not pesticide? I haven't done that test, because the observer make a huge difference to the experience, and this is true in many levels. Like in quantum physics, with the KF technology, we know that the observer make a big difference to the experience. So again, how can we identify for sure that the plant is entirely responsible of the response? I don't know.
And my feeling is the plant's probably reacting more to you than, and it's more on your own sort of subconscious level.
That's what I think as well, yeah. But
Yeah.
again, how to prove it?
Yeah, it's a hard one.
to prove it, because as soon as you're going to make a test and you're going to focus your attention to it, no matter where you are, no matter if you're in the same room or if you're thousands of kilometers from it,
Yeah.
quantumly you're still entangled to the plant. So the plant will actually feel your emotion or your energy. So yeah, the question is not, I believe the question is not that much about what the plants think or how it's just about reconciliating your relationship with reality, bringing more awareness and more consciousness into your thoughts and your emotional state. Because obviously, if you hear like a low frequency, a low note, and that doesn't make you happy, then this must have an impact in your body. Even if it's in a subtle level, it still must have an impact on your body. So you should be aware of it.
Yeah, I think this technology gives such a highlight for a lot of people to realize, as you say, what their thoughts are and how it impacts the environment around them. You know, and so if you're angry and negative and you realize that your plant just stopped singing, it can immediately bring you back out of that pattern. And if you start thinking love and happy thoughts, then the plant will sing again. So it will help people to become much more aware of their thoughts and actions.
Yeah, I used it a few times with some patients who, as an experience, like they wanted to get out a little bit of their mind. So I actually built a mattress that can convert music into frequency, into vibration. And I plug it to the plant. And basically the people were lying on this mat. And I was like, okay, just connect with the plant, close your eyes, lie on the mat and close your eyes and connect with the plant and just let your body feel the vibration of the melody going through your whole body. And yeah, they found that it was a very profound experience, very relaxing. But in the meantime, like there was an interaction happening between your energetic field and the plant, and this conversation, this subtle conversation between subtle bodies, could have like tremendous effect, and even heal like things that they were most of the time not even aware of.
Yeah, I think you're just opening up this technology, but what's so amazing is that it was around since the 60s, yet very few of us have come across it, which is quite sad.
Yeah, and for me, like the quality needs to be present. Like the quality of the sample, the quality of the sound are crucial if you really want to have an organic experience. Because like if the quality is not good, like then yeah, you're not gonna relax. You want to have like full experience, and for that you want to have something that is yeah, that is really fulfilling. So as I mentioned to you, I'm currently working on a project of building an alternative community outside of Sydney in Australia. So we can have a space where people can easily come and relax and experiment this type of technology that they couldn't experiment anywhere else in the world. Yeah. So this is again another aspect of this community project, to be able to explore things that looks a little bit ridiculous from the mainstream point of view, from most of the people who are deeply asleep and doesn't realize how sick they are. But yeah, having all those technology in one place and allowing everyone to come and easily experiment them, I think would be a great service to humanity.
Definitely. Any more questions?
Hello, my friends, all together. Greetings from Austria.
Hello, Klaus. How are you?
Fine. You also?
Yes, very good. Thanks.
Okay, I came a little bit late. Now I play a little bit with this sound. I feel the pulsation from the trees and the pulsation in my heart and in my body. And maybe you know, we play a new scan technology, and I want also to buy.
You cutting out there, Klaus? No, we don't hear you, Klaus. You there, Klaus?
Oh, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. What I say is I feel the pulsation from the plant and from my heart and in the cells when I hear this music. I'm very connected to these plants. And you know, we worked the last time with a new scan technology from the Russians. And we can look at the impact when people hear this music. I think this would be a nice experience to look what is they hear this music.
Just the last few words there, Klaus, you missed.
Okay. Sorry. You can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And we want to look what impact of the human being is when they hear the sound or next. What is about uh,
I think you want to say that with that Russian technology, you'll be able to see the outcome on the human body from listening to this music.
yes.
Oh, wonderful.
I want to buy some of these systems and to play with this, also for therapists working. And I see, I feel what is my body, all the water comes out of my body. And, it's a strong detoxifying and strong when I hear.
No, we don't hear you, Klaus,
Sorry.
from your body.
If you guys are interested into purchasing this technology, just go on my website and send me an email, and we can have a chat about it, and I can explain you how you can buy one of them. So my website is sacredarithmetic.com. Yeah, just shoot me an email, and we can have a conversation one day.
Okay, thank you. My connection is not so stable. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Stay, Klaus.
That's okay.
If there's no other questions, I'm just going to come up there with this is Roman's website there and his contact email. If anybody would like to get in touch with Roman afterwards, you're most welcome. Any other questions there?
Can see something
No.
like, I don't know if someone wrote a question.
Yeah, I can't read that, so whoever, I don't seem to be able to get in there.
Yeah, it seems that two people say something, but we can't see what it is.
Oh.
I can't seem to find it.
are battling to find
The chat.
So I don't know. Sorry about that.
I need to ask.
No other questions. Is everybody too happy listening to the music?
It's very relaxing music.
It is. I could listen to it all day.
If some of you are interested not in buying the technology because it's quite an investment and it's a bit complicated to set up, you can also send me an email and we can find a deal so I can record some for you and upload them somewhere on Dropbox so you can have like an hour or two of different plans. So yeah, you can just let it run during the whole day if you want to.
You should make a nice long meditative CD there, Roman.
Yeah.
It would sell very well.
Not a problem. If anyone is interested, just send me an email and I can organize that.
No, that'll be great. All right, Roman, thank you very much for that. So I hope everybody's got out of it what I did, got out of it the first time I heard these plants live. I think live is certainly something different. You have that immediate connection with the plants. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. And thank you very much, Roman. And thanks to your lovely plant there.
Just saying you're welcome.
Pleasure. All right, I think I'm going to call an end to this workshop because I just wanted it to focus on the plants and how we can connect with the plants. And Alex, we'll do your presentation next week, if that's okay. Next time, is that okay?
That'd be great, thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so thanks very much, and we'll see everybody in about in 2 weeks' time. And thanks very much, Roman.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Roman.
Guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Plant, too.
Matt.
Goodbye.